I'm Amy Shrader with Remax Real Estate 10, and I'm sure you've seen our video about the Give Where You Live initiative. Today we are visiting with Lakeway CASA, and I am speaking with Kelly Williams, who is their executive director. She is going to share with us a little bit more in depth about what Lakeway CASA does to help serve our community. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Amy, for featuring us and supporting us. That's a tremendous help. Well, Lakeway CASA's mission is to recruit, train, and support community members who advocate for the best interests of abused and neglected children in Hamlin, Granger, Jefferson, and Sevier counties. Our volunteers do all they can to ensure that each child finds a safe, permanent, and loving home. And currently, we are serving over 160 children, and the need is always there for more volunteers. We have approximately 47 volunteers and are offering training about 4 times a year in the different counties that we serve. And we, as I mentioned, are in great need of volunteers because the judges in our counties want to appoint us to more cases. Basically, Tennessee law allows juvenile judges to appoint a CASA volunteer. So it's actually a statute in Tennessee law that the judge is able to appoint a CASA volunteer. CASA volunteer program really was started by a juvenile judge over 40 years ago who really wanted more input. He wanted a perspective just from that child. So he created this program where everyday community members that had a heart for children would be trained, and the training is about 30 hours, and they would then be able to get to know the case, that get to know all the parties involved, and most importantly, get to know that child and build a relationship. So then they could then create a report for the judge and the court on what would be in the best interest of the child. And really a huge value of what we do is our CASAs only take 1 to 2 cases at a time. So they're not overburdened, much like our child welfare system is. Our DCS caseworkers do an amazing job. However, they carry many cases. Our volunteers, because they just have that 1 to 2 case, can really focus on what is best for that child. They can make sure that child's getting what they need at school, medically, therapeutic. They can really empower that child to have a voice through this process that for many of these children, and I would say just about all these children, can be very scary, traumatic, and isolating. So we want that child to know they have somebody in their corner who's going to stand for them, and like I said, empower them to have a voice. And we really are blessed by having some of the most dedicated community members who just want the best for our children here in our own community.
I know you said that it's children that are going through the court system. What kind of, I guess, cases are these children involved in that they need a CASA?
Sure. So the children that we are appointed to are declared abused or neglected by the court system, and they've been removed from their home due to whatever situation led to the removal for abuse and neglect.
So usually, like DCS is involved, they're getting the child out of the house, and then you guys get called.
Correct.
When it goes to court.
Correct. And we can be appointed at any point in the legal process, and
okay.
We are sometimes at the very beginning once that child's been removed, or sometimes if that child's been in state's custody for months and months, and the judge sees a need to have CASA in there, involved in the case, sometimes to move it along, sometimes to really be able to have more eyes on the case and make sure parents are doing what they are supposed to be doing, and what's going on in that placement home, whether it's a foster home or with another family member. Oftentimes a judge will see the need for having a CASA involved.
Okay. So what does it mean to be a CASA? What kind of things are they doing with this child?
So a CASA volunteer, which the CASA is an acronym for Court Appointed Special Advocate, they are able to access all the court documents. We have the privilege to be able to access any records, health-wise, education-wise, court-wise, relating to that child and that case. So the volunteers at first go in and read all the case documents that were given, and then they meet and interview all parties in the case. So that means biological parents, foster family members that might have taken that child in or that know about that case, teachers, doctors, therapists. We really do a lot of research and somewhat of an investigation in understanding what's going on. And then I think most importantly, we go and meet with that child at first and really gradually build a relationship so that that child will learn to trust their CASA volunteer. So we spend a lot of time on our initial training before a CASA becomes involved in a case on understanding how you work with a child that's gone through trauma, because you have to be very careful when working with children that have experienced abuse or neglect. Once they get to know that child, they will regularly visit that child. Every 30 days, that CASA volunteer goes in and meets with the child and the placement home, whether it's foster parents or family members, and kind of keeps up to date on what's going on. We'll check in at school, see if there's any issues. I think another value that we add is oftentimes the children that we serve are moved to other homes throughout the process. Because many of our cases last a year to 2 years. So that child could be in 2, 3, 4, 5 homes, but we always follow them. We are the one consistent person in their lives, because oftentimes their case manager might change, obviously their home changes, their school changes. We want to be that consistency for that child going through such a difficult time in their lives.
So when they visit with the child, are they visiting in the home? Do they take the child out to do things?
We typically go visit them in the home because it helps us make sure the conditions of the home are good and safe, and everything's going well there. And it makes it easy to establish that relationship with that child and make it convenient for the placement parents. We work with their schedule. Sometimes we'll come out on the evenings or on weekends, whatever works best for that placement home, to make sure it's as convenient as possible.
And what age range are the children?
We serve children from newborn to 18, and obviously the older kids. We try to get them ready and prepared with life skills and employment, education, that kind of thing. We also serve in Safe Baby Court, which is in Jefferson County, and it's a court established for babies 0 to 3, and it's a unique program. I believe there's about 6 to 7 in East Tennessee counties that have Safe Baby Court, and the idea behind Safe Baby Court is to approach the parents at a more informal level, make the court process less intimidating for the parents, as well as focus on the unique needs of children 0 to 3, because there's a lot of new research on understanding trauma that affects babies. I think for many years people were under the impression that babies didn't experience trauma, and there is obviously new research and understanding that there is trauma involved. So we do have specially trained volunteers that can work with those 0 to 3. They are starting a Safe Baby Court in Sevier County. We'd love to have one in Hamlin and Granger, so that might be on the horizon someday.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest need that you guys have here?
I would say right now we need more volunteers. We are experiencing really rapid growth. We are serving more and more kids every year, and cases are lasting longer. So that means our CASAs are tied up for longer periods. As I mentioned before, they only take 1 or 2 cases at a time. We do not want to overburden them by adding a 3rd or 4th case, so we're really careful about that. But because of that and the length of time these cases are taking, it ties up our CASA volunteers. So we would love to have more volunteers. we also would love to have people in the community that just want to support us, but might not be able to be a CASA volunteer. We are going to be launching in 2024 a new program called Friends of Casa, and that's really for people who love what we do but aren't quite able for various reasons to be a CASA volunteer, but somebody who just wants to learn more about what we do and then share it in their network or circle, their churches, because oftentimes word of mouth is the best way we are able to get a volunteer. We also are hosting our 12th annual fundraising gala in March 19th, 2024 at Walters State Community College, and we are going to feature a speaker. It's a woman who has experienced kinship care on multiple levels. She put up her child for adoption. She, as an adult, she took in her daughter's child, and she also reunited with her birth child. And so she's written several books on adoption and kinship care. And she really has a great story to tell. Her name is Raquel McLeod, and again, she'll be our keynote speaker at our 12th annual gala on March 19th in 2024.
So, you guys are a nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
How do you get funding for your programs?
So, we get funding from a variety of sources. The state of Tennessee, through the Tennessee Commission on Children and Youth, give us a grant for each of our counties, and that probably covers I'd say about half of our budget. The other half of our budget is through fundraising and other grants and the United Way of the 4 counties that we serve, as well as our fundraising event is a big, especially our Hamilton County one, really is a huge support for the work that we do.
So that is the gala that you're talking about.
Correct.
In March. Do you want to explain a little bit about how that works?
Sure.
Tell people how they can get tickets.
Sure. So our gala is we typically have over 350 people come, and local businesses sponsor tables or are our event sponsor, which is a huge help. But we invite people from the community to attend. There is no cost to attend unless you want to sponsor a table, and then you would be provided a table for 8 people. But community members are really encouraged to attend just to hear more and learn more about what CASA does. We will be sharing more information on our Facebook page, on our website, and you certainly can call us at 423-307-5762. But we really invite everybody who wants to learn more about CASA to attend this and hear an inspirational story. We're going to also have the Walters State Choir sing some songs. So it's going to be a nice evening. It's a Tuesday night, but we keep the program short because we know it's a school and work night. But we'd love everybody that can attend to come. And if there's a local business that is interested in sponsoring a table at the event, give us a call as well.
How much of your budget do you think comes from that event?
A quarter of our budget comes from that event.
So that's huge for you guys.
Huge. It's huge.
What other fundraising activities do you do?
We do a concert in Jefferson County, which just started a couple years ago. And in Sevier County, we'll do a gala type event later in the spring. We don't have the date yet. But really the gala in Morristown is our biggest event. And of course, fundraising is an important part of it. But I think just as important, if not more, this year is awareness raising. People really get to hear what we do. They'll get to meet our volunteers, our staff, our board members. They'll hear, the personal story of Raquel, of what it would have meant for her as a child going through her difficulties, because she had a mother that was a drug addict and a father that was incarcerated. She was removed, but was in her grandmother's home, but she did not have the benefit of a CASA. And I think she's going to tell a story of why having that caring person in a child's life that's going through this can make such a key difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if anybody just wanted to make a donation to you before the end of the year to help them with their taxes,
Yeah.
do you all have a place on your website that they can make an online donation?
Yes. There is a, I believe it's a PayPal button that they can click on, and on our Facebook page has a donate button as well.
All right. What is your website?
It is www.lakewaykasa.org.
Okay.
So really just put in Lakeway CASA and you'll find us.
All right. Is there anything else about Lakeway CASA that you want to share to help get the word out?
I would just say that a big part of what we do is leaving an imprint in the lives of the children that we serve. Many of the children that we've served years later, we don't often keep in touch, but sometimes we do. But we've heard years later what a difference their CASA made in their lives at that critical moment. And I think that's a real important part for our CASA volunteers to understand and our community to understand, that the legacy of a CASA volunteer can last for years, can last a lifetime for a child. And as they grow into an adult, always remembering I had this person in my life that really had my back, was rooting for me to do well, and I overcame the difficulties in my life, and I was able to heal and thrive. And a big part of that is because I had a caring, trusted adult who believed in me and empowered me.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I think you are going to take us over to Natasha.
Yes.
And let us talk to her a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Natasha Hager. She is the advocate coordinator for Hamlin County for Lakeway CASA. So, Natasha, tell us a little bit about what your position is here and what you do.
So, I am the advocate coordinator for Hamlin County. I supervise all of our Hamlin County volunteers. So, our volunteers that take cases in Hamlin County, I am kind of the person that sits in court and kind of supervises all of the volunteers and the cases and all the things that they have going on within the court system.
So, do you help match the child to a specific volunteer?
Yes, through our training, we talk with our volunteers about what kind of cases they would be a good fit for, what kind of cases they are not a good fit for. And when we get those cases, we come back and try to match them with a volunteer that would be the best fit for that child.
All right. So, are there any particular stories, I guess, that you can share without going into, specifics, but how a CASA has helped a child?
Yeah, sure. So our CASAs are the constant on the cases. Unfortunately, our Department of Children's Services is so overwhelmed right now. They have so many cases, and it's difficult for them to build that one-on-one relationship with every child that they see. So our CASAs are sometimes the only person that stay on the case the entire time. So there is a significant relationship with our CASAs versus maybe some other people on the case. So we have CASAs that will, when the children go to testify, they'll stand with them or they'll hold their hand. We have CASAs that their kids say, my CASA is the only one that ever answers the phone, because our CASAs only have one or two cases at a time, one or two kids at a time. So we're able to be more available to those kids. We see them more. We're able to see them once or twice a month. We have CASAs that go to our kids' sporting events, that go to graduations, just to kind of be that supportive person that they may not have in their life, for sure.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, what is your greatest need in your position right now?
In my position is volunteers. We have, I think last month we served over 100 kids, and we are lacking in volunteers. We have kids that are on a waiting list in Hamlin County because we just don't have the volunteers to serve them. So anybody can be a volunteer. You take 30 hours of training, be over 21 years old, pass a background check, and we can get you trained up to be a volunteer. That is our greatest need right now, for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Natasha. We appreciate you coming on here with us. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure I will see you again in March at the gala.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us.
All right. Thank you.